Hey everyone, welcome to Purling Through Life. My name's Melissa and I'm coming to you from the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. So this channel is all about knitting and crochet and yarn, and today is an update video where I show you the things I've been working on the past week. And today I have 2 finished objects, 5 works in progress, and some knitting and crochet patterns I'd like to share with you. So we'll get started with my finished objects. I have 2, like I said, and they're both crocheted, and they are both crocheted hats. And they're also the same pattern. So it's just a vanilla pattern. I didn't actually use a pattern. It's a crochet ribbed hat, and there's so many YouTube tutorials on how to do this style hat and free patterns on the internet. But here's my version, and here's the first one. So how I did this, I chained 48 stitches, and I crocheted all of this using the half double crochet and the back loop only. And I did this for, well, when I chained 48 stitches, I made sure the chain was at least 12 inches long, and then I carried on until it fit around my head, and there you go. So it's a simple hat, but actually this is one of my favorite hats to make. They're so simple, but they're so effective. I love how they look, and I just I like that I like the folded over brim. I like that in a hat, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to put a pom-pom on it. And I used a 6mm hook for this, and this yarn is a Hobby Lobby yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn. Here is a new skein of yarn, and let's see, this is Soft and Sleek Low Pill Fiber. It is a worsted weight yarn. It is 100% low pill acrylic, and it is 114 grams, 186 meters. And this colorway is Berry Mix. And the skein of yarn that I used, actually, this is what I had left. So I don't think actually I have enough to make a pom-pom for this out of the yarn. I'm not sure I want one. I haven't decided yet, but I really love this hat, and this yarn is so nice. It was really nice to work with. I can't remember if I said this or not, but I used a 6mm crochet hook to make this. So there is that first finished object. The second finished object is another crochet hat, the crochet ribbed hat, and here it is. Woo! Look at these colors. So I think I did the same thing. About 48 chains. I made sure it measured like 12 inches, and then I did the same thing, half double crochet through the back loop until it fit around my head. Look at that. Oh, not really sure how I feel about this hat, but here's the yarn, and it looks cool in the skein, I think, but I'm not sure. Not really sure about this. I used a 6mm hook again, and this yarn is the Big Twist Classic yarn. Here's the label, and the colorway is Fun Brights. It says this is a 5 bulky, and there are 420 yards, 227 grams. Yep, so there is that. So I have a lot of this left, and I have another ball of it. Yeah, so those are my 2 finished objects, and I really like this one. I like this one a lot. This one I'm not so sure about, but I really wanted to crochet something, and I couldn't think, what am I going to crochet? And so I decided to do some hats. We don't really need hats right now. It's getting warmer, but my thought is that I did this last year. So in October, I like to go to the SAF. It's the Southeastern Animal Fiber Fair, something like that, in North Carolina. And they take hats for donations. And last year I made a few hats, so I was thinking I could make a bunch more this year, and come October, I would bring them all with me to donate. So that's where these will more than likely go. This one for sure. So now on to my works in progress. And the first works in progress that I want to show you is a knit hat that I'm making out of this yarn, the same yarn that I made the crochet hat out of. I wanted to see what the yarn would look like knit up. And so here it is, my progress so far. I'm still working on the ribbing. I'm doing a 2x2 ribbing, and I'd like to do it for 4 inches so that I can have a folded over brim. And then the rest of the hat will just be stockinette stitch. Let's see, I don't know how many stitches I cast on, but these needles are 5 millimeters, and I'm going to use a 5.5 millimeter for the body of the hat. Let's see, yeah, so that's all. That's it. So I think I have another inch to do before I just start the basic stockinette stitch hat. And I don't know, I think this yarn, I think I said this before, but I think this looks better in the ball of yarn than actually knit or crocheted up. But it's very soft yarn, and it's actually nice to work with. So there's that works in progress. And we'll move on to some that you've seen. I have a couple pairs of socks to share with you. And the first pair is living in this bag here. This is by Twisted Yarn and Fibers. And these are knit a vanilla pair of socks. And here they are. I showed these last week. And I showed these with a heel. I had done the shadow wrap heel, and I didn't like it, so I took it out, and I'm just going to do an afterthought heel. That's where I'm going to put it. So here is the sock so far, and I knit my socks cuff down, and let's see, I cast on 64 stitches, and I do a 2x2 rib for 15 rounds. And then this is the start of the leg area, or the ankle area really, and there's the end. I like to have a shorty sock. And I'm going to do an afterthought heel, and these needles are 2.25 millimeter, and I'm doing these on magic loop. So here's the progress on the sock, and I took a whole heel out and then did that much. And the yarn, here's the yarn, here's the ball of yarn that I'm using, and this is by West Yorkshire Spinners. It's the Signature Sparkle 4-ply. Here is their label. And the colorway is Silent Night, and there are 437 yards and 100 grams, and it is 75% wool, 23% nylon, and 2% polyester. And I think the polyester is more than likely the sparkles you see in the yarn. Yeah, so that is my second works in progress, and my first sock that I'm going to show you. I'll show you my second sock here. It's living in this bag, and this is a T-Doddles bag. And these are DK socks, and I have the first sock off the needles. I just have to, all that's left to do is put the heel in right here. So I have the first one done. And these are a vanilla sock. I think for these I cast on 48 stitches. I used Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. She has a free pattern on Ravelry for DK socks, and I used the count that I'm using the count that she suggests in that pattern. That was a mouthful. And then here is the second sock, what I have done so far. Here we go. That's what I have done so far. So I haven't reached where I'm going to do the heel, but these, it's all done the same. And so far as I do them top down, cuff down, and I do a magic loop, and I'm going to do an afterthought heel on these as well. And these needles are 3.25 needles. Yes, I love the color of these. And the yarn I'm using for this is by Teal Torch Knits. Here's their label. And I'm using this pink and then this gray for toes and heels. They're both Teal Torch Knits. And they are 246 yards, 100 grams. And they're 75-25 superwash merino nylon. And this colorway here is Hot and Fun. And then this colorway is Hollowed Ground. That's what that one is. So there is the progress on that sock. Or on these socks. I feel like I didn't really get a whole lot done. I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I wasn't really interested on working on any one thing for too long. So, but I have a few things to show you in some progress. Let's see. Okay, well, the next thing I'll show you, I made a tiny bit of progress on this shawl, but I'm going to show it. It's living in this bag. It is by Cottontail Farms. And the pattern that I'm using for this shawl is called Marinna or Marinna. I'm not exactly sure. And it is by Ambah O'Brien. It is a knit shawl. Not sure if I said that. And here is the progress that I made. It's just a tiny bit of progress from last week. See where the stitch marker is there. So I did, you know, they're all the way up, and that's probably only like maybe 6 rows. But here it is. See that when you pull it out, the lace, simple lace. And obviously when it's blocked, you'll be able to see it even better. So that's the progress that I've made on that so far. And this is fingering weight yarn, and the needles are 3.75. So you can see that over there good. So this part of the shawl is I'm using a chart for this, and it's just consists of all these, see, the lace that looks like that. Looks like flowers. And these are the 2 yarns that I'm using because it's 2-colored shawl. The next part after this, I think, are stripes. You stripe the shawl with these 2 yarns. And I'll tell you about the yarns. The yarn that I'm using right now, this is a Passions Yarns, and here's their label. And this is called Mochaccino. It's fingering weight 75-25 superwash merino nylon. It is 460 yards for 463 yards for 100 grams. So there's that one. And then I will introduce this color in the next section. And this is by Leading Men Fiber Arts. Here's their label. And this is on their Showstopper base. The colorway is Gothic Queen. It is a fingering weight, 75-25, superwash merino nylon, 463 yarns for 100 grams as well. So, there we go. And here this is. One last time. And let's see, I think I only have one more works in progress to share with you, and this is new. This is something I kind of got obsessed with and went down a rabbit hole. I've been wanting to learn how to do brioche knitting for a very long time, and I started looking on Ravelry and seeing all these wonderful patterns, and that's what I'm going to show you in a minute after I show you this last works in progress. But I thought, you know, I need to start with something very basic. And so that's what I'm doing now. And the static, there's a bit of static. Come on. I can't get this yarn off my hand. There we go. So that's what I started was just a very basic brioche pattern. It's living in this bag, and this is by Twist Fiber Studios, this bag. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is called it's called a Brioche Cowl. And it is a free pattern on Ravelry. And I will show you what I have done so far. I've taken this out twice. And now I seem to be on track. I don't know how well my tension is, but... And this is very scrunched up because it said to use a 16-inch length needle, but I probably should have put it on 24-inch. So there it is so far, and this is a bulky yarn that I'm using, and I wish I could show you a bit better. Can you see? My tension is not great. But I'm doing it. And then, of course, this is the other side because it's reversible, really. So here's the other side. So it's working out. Maybe I like that side better. Yeah, my tension in certain areas is like not that great. But that's okay. This is my first brioche project, and so whatever it looks like is what it looks like. And I haven't made any mistakes yet. I did watch some videos, like if you make a mistake, how to fix them. But so far I haven't made a mistake. Well, maybe a little bit of a mistake, but I'm not taking it out. So there we go. And the yarn I'm using, these two yarns, I love these yarns. They're so soft. And these yarns are from Hobium, from a long time ago. And they are the Kartopu Melange Wool Tweed. There's the label. This is a bulky weight yarn, 100 grams, 170 meters, and it is 77% acrylic, 20% wool, and 3% viscose. And the colorway is M1374, but I am positive this is discount. This is discontinued. So, but here are the yarns. They're both the same, just have different numbers, color numbers. So there's that one. And you see the tweed in it. So soft. I have a lot of this because I used to love to get Hobium yarns, and I think I realized these were probably going to be discontinued, so I bought a lot. And here's the other one, the blue. And there's the blue. And the needles I'm using for this are a 6.5 millimeter needle. It did say to use an 8 millimeter, but I knew that wouldn't work out so well. And I did actually, it said to cast on 71 stitches. And I actually cast on like 90 stitches, 91 stitches. I wanted it a bit bigger. I didn't think 71 would be enough. Really wouldn't be that big. So I actually cast on 91. And I'm really wishing I had put this on a 24-inch cord. But I can't really now because I don't believe... I like to use high sharps. They're my favorite needles. And I don't think I have... These are high sharps on a 16-inch. And I don't think I have high sharps on a 24-inch. And fixed or interchangeable. So I'm just going to stick with this. So there we go. So that's all of my works in progress and all my finished objects. And now I thought I'd show you a few patterns. Because like I said, I got on Ravelry and fell into a rabbit hole of all kinds of brioche. brioche knitting and brioche crochet. And so I thought I would show you a few of the patterns that I found. I found a lot of free patterns, and a couple of them are paid patterns, but I'll go ahead and show you. So, and I'm going to put pictures up of the patterns. I'll put them up here on the screen, but I do have notes on each of the patterns, so I can kind of tell you a little bit about them. So first we'll go through the knitting patterns, and I will go through the free ones first. So the first one I want to show you is called Brioche Loop, and it is by Tanja Steinbach. I hope sorry for really messing that up if I did. And it is a cowl, and let's see, it is free, and you use fingering weight for this cowl. You use 875 to 919 yards, and it is 2 colors, and the needle size they want you to use is 2.5 millimeters. And that is a beautiful cowl, and I can't believe it's free. So there's that one. And then the next one that's free is a hat, and it is called Flashpoint, and it is by the Knitting Apprentice. And this hat calls for DK yarn, 2 colors, and approximately 120 to 142 yards. And it calls for a 3.5 millimeter needle. So there's that one. I'd love to work on some of these where you make twists and turns in all of your brioche. I'd love to be able to do that. Alrighty, so the next one is free as well, and this is called the Daniels hat, and it is by Ysolda Teague. Remember, she wrote the Musselburgh hat pattern. Well, now she has a free brioche pattern, and this is with worsted weight yarn. It is 1 color brioche, and it is approximately 100 to 230 yards, and you use a 4 and 5 millimeter needle to knit this hat. So that's beautiful as well. And then I found a couple of paid for patterns, and these are really why I want to learn how to do brioche, because I've had actually these in my favorites for a long time, and I just thought I better try something free and easy before I get into these. Although this first one I'm going to show you doesn't really look difficult, I don't think, but you know, I don't really know because I haven't I really looked at the pattern that much. So this is a paid for pattern. It is the Albers Cowl by Irina Melero. And it is 5.5 euros, which converts to $6.21. And this cowl, it calls for Aran weight, 2 colors, and it wants you to use a 4.5 millimeter needle, which seems kind of a small needle for Aran weight, but I don't know. I would have to go and look at the other projects and see if anybody else used a bigger needle. I think if I did knit this, or when I do, I'll probably use a bigger needle. And then the last knitting pattern that I wanted to share with you today is another paid for pattern, and it is the Beholden pattern by Lesley Ann Robinson. And I think she goes by Knit Graffiti on Instagram. If that's wrong, I will put it down below. I know she has a beautiful Instagram account that I love. And this, I want to knit this so badly. This is gorgeous. This is a paid for pattern. It is $8, and it asks for fingering weight yarn, 3 colors, because there's more than just brioche in this. There are other things. And it's approximately 1,275 yards of yarn, and it calls for a 3.5 millimeter needle. And that is like dream knitting for me, something I really want to be able to do one day. So those are all the knit patterns, and now I want to show you some crochet patterns, because there is also Crochet Brioche, and I found some free patterns on Ravelry as well, and one paid for pattern. The first one is called the Brioche Beanie, and it is by Nerissa Muijs. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. And this calls for DK weight yarn, 2 colors, and you would use approximately 219 to 437 yards. And it also calls for 3 crochet hooks, and I don't know if they're recommended or you actually use them all. It asks for a 4mm, 4.5mm, and a 5mm crochet hook. So there's that one. And then the next one is also free, and it is called the Crochet Brioche Hat. And it is by Edita, Ostrova. Sorry if I butchered that as well. And this calls for Aran weight and approximately 109 to 218 yards, 2 colors, and it suggests using a 4.5mm needle. So there's that. And then the last free pattern, which I really love this. I really, really love this. This one is called the Reversible Brioche Crochet Neck Warmer, and it is by Belinda, Pearse. And this asks for bulky weight yarn and 2 colors, and color A should be a bulky weight yarn, and then color B should be a DK weight yarn. So I'm not sure how that works. And it says that you'll use approximately 300 to 350 yards of yarn, and it calls for a 6mm and 5mm crochet hook. But I really do love that. I love the look of that one. And then I really, really love this one. This is a paid for pattern, and it is called the Down the Line Beanie by Marinna. And I have crocheted her other patterns. This is a paid for pattern, and it is £4.38, and that converts to $5.80 in the US. And it calls for sport weight yarn, and there's 2 colors, and a 3mm crochet hook. And that I definitely want to make. And I've never done crochet brioche either. So I don't know. I just kind of got into Ravelry and got hooked on all these brioche patterns. So I hope you liked that. I hope you found I hope you found some of that interesting. And I'm going to list everything down below, whether it's these patterns that I just shared with you or the patterns for the things I'm working on. I will list all that down below. And that's all I have to show you today. I hope you all are having a fabulous week. It's only Monday, so I hope you had a fabulous weekend. And I hope the upcoming week is wonderful for you. So I will see you next week. And until then, bye for now.